Hey everybody, just wanted to speak briefly to everyone. We just celebrated Juneteenth, and this week we're also celebrating Father's Day. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how it seems like politicians and entertainers and athletes and everyone seems to be hopping on the old black bandwagon, if you will. Black people have been around for a while. They really have. We've been around since the beginning of time, and in America, we've been around for centuries. Centuries. And a lot of the times, it wasn't really good times either. In fact, it was not good times at all. Um, Now, all of a sudden, you know, all the white elites and liberals and politicians and everybody are starting to care about us. Honestly, witnessing another black man, George Floyd, is what changed everybody's hearts. Is that what really happened? I mean, the other God only knows how many other mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, black men and women who've been murdered didn't move you. I'm not getting it. This one really got to you, huh? Because is it because it was during the pandemic and it made it so much different and so much better? That you needed to really get out there and make a move. Tell the rest of the parents that their sons and daughters, this it wasn't the time for everybody to really wake up and smell the coffee and see how many black people are being murdered every year. And yeah, we know people are going to say, well, you guys murder your own people. So what that got to do with you? You know, it shouldn't even bother you that that's happening. And that's all systematically put together for that. It's been, plot planned and schemed. So let's not fool ourselves. Um, the other thing is, 400 years we have suffered under the brutality of people who call us animals. We're the animals. We're the savages. But the hangings and the lynching and the captivity and the beating and the rapings and the selling of children and family members on auction blocks, never to be seen again, using small little black babies to hunt alligators so that you can make your crocodile shoes and your belts. Didn't phase you in the least bit, huh? I mean, you want to talk about being animalistic and uncivilized? I don't think it's us. I'm just saying, I mean, I think that that's more of a savage mentality. Um, I mean, it's not just the lynchings, but it's the lynchings, it's the murdering, it's the raping. I mean, it's like if you needed more slaves on the plantation, you used the slave males to go and have sex with other women on someone else's plantation so that you could impregnate them, which sometimes just leaves them just being so happy that they were able to please the master. Then you have times when the slave master would make a young male child, sleep with his own mother, her not even knowing it. Hence the word mother effer. That's where that comes from. The son never even knew he was having sex with his mother. And you could sit back and you could look at all that. I mean, what kind of heart, mind, soul, and spirit, even if you tell yourself the way that it was overcome was by thinking that, you were only three-fifths human. What is it about people that just make up stuff? You just make up stuff, manifest destiny, all this stuff. It's your destiny to be the rulers of the world and to steal and rob and pillage everybody else and take everything away from them. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem like it's a nice place to be, or it doesn't seem like it's something that's a nice human quality to have. Um, I don't know. And then there's a time when if a slave spoke up for himself, and stood up for what was right for himself, that the slave master would take him out and buck break him in front of all the other slaves, and just, beat him and rape him and sodomize him in front of his own family, to say that's a warning. We've talked about this on my shows before. And to me, it just seemed like Juneteenth was the time to really say, in Galveston, Texas, people could be free. And even though it seemed like 2.5 years wasn't a lot of time, but when you are in captivity, 2.5 years could seem like, 20 years or 30 years. Um, Look, people are having a hard time just staying inside the house, being, away from other folks for 3 months. You can only imagine what it must be like not to be able to be free. Okay, so this gave you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to not have your freedom. So my whole thing is, you need to check yourselves before you wreck yourselves. Um, Black Wall Street, when you think about what was done during Reconstruction, the fact that whites didn't want to deal with blacks, so they went and they had their own place where they could, live and work together and have their own businesses, and that wasn't enough. You had to be bombed, with gasoline bombs. You got some planes and you flew over just to kill people. I mean, every single time it seems like when we, are trying to get on our feet, or we're trying to do something and fight for ourselves, you do things like intimidation, like the buck breaking thing you did on a plantation, and the thing with the Tulsa, burning and bombing the whole place down, with these people who would have legacies and businesses no longer have any of these things. Um, when you think about, the civil rights movement, the fact that you have to go out and you have to march and you have to uh, fight for whatever it is that you want as a human being. I mean, who's being like a savage? Who's being uncivilized? Who are the people that are being uncivilized truly? When you can lynch men and women and have them hanging from trees and have a party, you can burn them, and hence the word picnic. That's where that comes from, because it's short for pick a nigga. That's why we don't use the word going on a picnic. You might be on an outing or a barbecue, but a picnic, really? That was not a good word that anybody black wanted to hear. There are so many other things, that have come into place where it's been where we as a people have been, stressed out by this. We've been suffering seriously from post traumatic stress syndrome. The things that have been done through the centuries have to have an effect. If white people could just be honest and say things like, well, you know, we just don't like black people, and talk to each other and say, here's why the color of their skin does something to us. The color of their skin, you know, their fluffy lips, their big butts, their hairstyles. It's always something, but yet it's weird because it's like a love hate. Like you love to be like us, but you hate us at the same time. So we don't get it. Some of us don't care, and some of us do care. Some of us are like myself, trying to figure it all out. Like, what is your problem? What makes you this way? And there are lots of theories as to why you behave this way, why you have to kill, why you have to murder, why black people have been a target for such a long time. I get it. You want free labor, but it ain't gonna happen. I'm putting yourself in our place. Pretend like you're a black person for about a month and see what happens. You wouldn't be able to survive. You wouldn't take it. You'd be very upset. I don't know what makes you think that God thinks that you make up all this stuff, because God has no respect of person. You read into whatever you want to read into the books that you write. So if it were not for the fact that you white people did not want to do the right thing, if you all wanted to do the right thing, we wouldn't have a need for affirmative action, for example. So that way you wouldn't have to turn it around and say, when you do something, it's like, oh, that's reverse discrimination, which there's no such thing as reverse discrimination, because in order to have reverse discrimination, you have to have discrimination moving forward, right? Um, then you have to understand that affirmative action benefited more people that were not black. Just so you know, it benefited a lot of white women, and it still does. The other thing is we wouldn't have anything like EEOC. EEOC wouldn't have been around because, people in the workplace would have been able to behave themselves, white folks. But no, because of your racism and because of your biases and your prejudice and your bigotry and everything else, we have to have EEOC, which, by the way, the laws and everything are made up by you anyway, so it's still very difficult. Um, then we have the civil rights movement, as I mentioned earlier, and now we have Black Lives Matter. Well, Black lives have always mattered. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why anybody. Black lives have always mattered because we've been around for a long time. And then now the switch is all lives matter. Well, yeah, all lives have always mattered because Black lives are part of all lives. And if you behaved as if all lives matter, we wouldn't have to have Black Lives Matter. I'm just saying. So, anyway, when we talk about our lives matter, Black lives that matter, when you think about the founding fathers with Father's Day, this week, a lot of the founding fathers had slaves themselves. Um, Washington, who set his free, Jefferson, who didn't, Adam didn't have any. Um, but the fact of the matter is that even those people were very animalistic. So look at us today and look at us in the past and see how much has really changed. I mean, Black people have more derogatory names than anybody else on the planet, starting with the N word. Also, Black people are discriminated against. We're last hired, first fired. No matter how smart you are, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how mild-mannered you are, our kindness is taken for weakness. You brainwash some of our own people into disliking us, so they are indeed racist Black people, because a racist Black person is a white person in black skin who actually thinks that white people are far more superior than his own. So that's the only way you can call somebody, a Black person, a racist, because we cannot be racist. Bigots, prejudice, discriminate, bias, oh yeah, definitely. But a racist, that's a powerful one. And we just don't have enough judges in office. We don't have enough police on the police. We don't have enough CEOs. We don't have enough of anything. So anyway, I just want to say, to everyone out there, remember, all of these young Black people, old Black people, it don't matter if you're young or old, if you're being murdered senselessly by, police officers or whomever, it's got to stop. And I am sure that George Floyd, listen, I know a lot of you people say, oh, isn't it magnificent? It's such a multicultural race of people that are marching. It's so grand. I just love seeing that unity coming together. Well, this isn't the first time that this has happened. Look at the March on Washington. Look at some of the other stuff. White people march with us, so what? Action speaks louder than words. And yes, everybody can take a walk. Get your steps in, whatever it is that you need to get out of the house, don't want to wear a mask. This is Black Music Month. Thank you, President Carter. This is Black Music Month. And today was a day, the 20th of, it's 6/20/20. And I have planned to do some artists and, event. But it had to be canceled, of course, because of this pandemic. I don't know when we're going to get back to normal again. I just know that it hasn't stopped the hate. It hasn't stopped the killings. Nothing, a pandemic can't even stop. It was good for a minute, but then people started to lose their freaking minds, man, and they were losing their minds. So even when you go outside, some of these crazy people are still out there. But I, for one, am playing it safe. I commend all of you who have been out there, marching and protesting. But, you know, I've been there before. I've done that. I'm writing, I'm doing these videos, and hopefully, if people listen to them, they listen to them. If they don't, they don't. But, you have got to understand that we need people with good character. And this savage, animalistic, uncivilized killing has got to stop. Period, point blank. Just remember, there's been others that have been murdered, and every single person who's been murdered, their family, their friends, all believe that they were extremely important, and they are. So one is not over another. And just because people are home and we're in a pandemic and people want to get out the house, because I am one to be enough to be free to say, I guarantee if these people had to work, they wouldn't be out there. Most of them, they wouldn't be out there like they are now. But there's a lot of people who don't have anything else to do. People are getting their unemployment. They're getting an extra $600. They don't have to work. Waiters, waitresses, whatever they are. Because it can go right back to what it was before. So let's see some policies being put in. Let's see something about reparations. Let me see somebody carrying a sign about reparations, for Black people. Since the Japanese got theirs, the Jews got theirs, everybody else got theirs. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can be tax exempt, you know. Let's see if we can get that, Let's see if our college loans can be, every time somebody try to do something for us, there's a whole uproar because people don't feel we're worthy of anything. And that's what the problem is. Because we are worthy. You got years, centuries of, we worked and slaved, our ancestors did. There was no pension, there was no unemployment, there was nothing, no vacation, no nothing. And you don't want to give a dime. But yet with this pandemic coming about, everybody can, get extra this and write a check here and write a check there and send a stimulus and give, really? People, don't be fooled by this nonsense. Your actions are going to speak louder than words. Anytime you can tear women down, Black women particularly, and treat us like we're nothing, treat our Black men like they're nothing, pull us apart, poison us against each other, record companies and rap companies, you want us to be called bitches and hoes and all this other kind of stuff, and it's okay. And you know that the people are so hungry for money that they'll do anything. They'll sell their own mothers. And even in politics, they'll sell their own mothers just to get whatever they want. They would kill their own parents to get whatever it is that they want to get up this political ladder. You've blown everybody's mind. They're all crazy. Crazy, I'm telling you. Everybody's gone mad. Pull yourselves together, please. All right? Anyway, happy Father's Day. Happy Juneteenth. Let's see when we come out of this, after September comes in, let's see. I'm waiting for September and October when the weather starts to get cold just to see. Pray the Lord that I'm still here too and that everybody else is too. But let's just see, for those who are free spirit and don't believe anything is going on and that you don't need to wear a mask and you don't need to cover yourself or anything like that. Let's see how well that goes. I hope it works out for the better. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great Father's Day for all of you. The only Father that I have is the Heavenly Father above, and He has everything. I thank you, Father God, for everything that you've done, everything that you do, and everything that you're going to continue to do. I pray that you will make this world a better place for all of us. And for all of those who have lost someone because of this pandemic or because of illnesses and could not get to funerals, could not get to anything, to those who've lost fathers during this time, it's got to be very difficult. And I'm praying for you, and I hope that, you can remain strong. Anyway, I love everybody. Please take care. Sorry this was so long, but I needed to get it out. Thank you. Bye now. I'm just saying.